Okay, everyone, welcome back. Well, so this video is about basic savings and the concept of compound interest. Now, just before we get started, just a quick reminder about what savings really is, and I'm just going to draw a little itty-bitty income statement here. And if you haven't watched the video on income statements, maybe you can do that next. But, on an income statement, what you've essentially got is a combination of two primary things. You've got revenue on the top, and you have expenses down below. And if you're doing things mostly right, hopefully you'll have something left over at the end down here, or profit, right? So a lot of folks refer to the concept of pay yourself first. Well, what that means is that in your expenses, your savings is the first thing that gets paid. Okay, you pay your savings before you pay your rent or utilities or your car payment, and that's a really great exercise to get into. If you can get in the habit of, in paying yourself first on top here, so rent, car payment, everything else down here. But if you can get in the habit of putting your savings as a priority, then you really increase the chances that you're going to actually do it. Because what happens with so many people is that they earn their money up here from a job or something, and then they pay all their expenses, their rent, their car, they go out to eat, they go dancing and all that kind of good stuff. And what ends up happening is that there's nothing left over for savings, and so the savings never actually happens. So I'm not going to get too much into the whole concept to pay yourself first here today, other than to just let you know that I think it's a great idea. But what we're going to talk about mostly today is this concept of compound interest and how it will really serve you over time. So whether you're saving here or whether you're saving here, it doesn't really matter. The point is that you're actually saving, and the concept of compound interest is going to show you why doing it a little bit younger in your life is probably a better idea than doing it starting a little bit older. So what we're going to do is, I think I want to drive that point home, I guess, here a little bit more, and that is just to say that time is either your friend or your enemy when it comes to savings. And that really is the core of the idea of compound interest. And so we're going to go through a couple of examples just to prove the point and show you exactly how that works. So let's first go through an example of someone that's saving $2,000 per year, okay, or $166 per month. And let's say that person puts that money away for 10 years between the ages of 15 and 25 years old. Okay, and then they stop. Then stop after that. Then we're going to compare that scenario to someone who waits until they're 30 and invests for 20 years until they're 50 and then stops. Okay, so again, 10 years over here versus 20 years over here. So this person over here is taking twice as long. They're still doing the same amount of money, $2,000 per year or $166 a month. But I'm going to show you here in a little bit what the difference is between these two models. And hopefully when you're watching this, you're a little bit closer to 15 or 25 than you are to 30 to 50. Otherwise you'll have some, that'll bum you out a little bit. Anyway, so at the end of the first year, then, let's take your $2,000, multiply that by, we're just going to assume a 5% interest rate. So you multiply that times 1.05. Then at the end of that first year, you're going to have $2,100, right? And then you're going to add 2,000 more to that. So then you're going to have $4,100 at the beginning of the next year times 1.05. And then by the end of year 2, we're going to have $4,305. And that just keeps going for 10 more years, right? For 10 years. And then you stop. So at that point, you've invested how much? You've invested $20,000, right? 10 years at $2,000 a year is $20,000. Okay? And because of compound interest, you notice how, this first $100 that we got this first year, and then now we're up to $305 more than what you put in at the end of the second year. When that compounding keeps going, at the end of 20 years, at the end of that 10 years, you'll have $26,000 $414 in the bank. Now you'll say, well, that's really nice. I put in $20,000. Yeah, I got $6,400 over 10 years. Maybe that's not great. I don't know. You think about it, whatever you want to think about it. But that's what you'll have after 10 years. Now remember, we're stopping after 10 years. This person isn't putting in any more money. Now, when that person is 50 years old, so now we're going to be 50 years old, the $26,000 will have grown to $110,446. Again, that assumes 5% interest per year. That assumes no more money, so $0 invested from the time the person turned 25 until the time the person is 50. They've done nothing. All they do is leave it in the bank and let it go. It grows to $110,000. So now let's compare this person over here. This is a person who doesn't start investing or saving until they're 30 years old. And then she realizes at age 30 that it's time to get started. So she's going to do the same thing. So here's what happens, except she's going to take 20 years, remember? So again, same basic math. $20,000 times 1.05 is 2,100. And I won't do the next one, but basically this person goes on for 20 years. And so it doesn't take a huge math wizard to figure out that that person has put in $40,000 over 20 years, right? That compares to this person's $20,000, right? So Bobby over here has put in twice as much money as the young smart one over here. So then what happens? So then again, this person stops. Okay, no more. And then when that person is 50 years old, of course, I guess that person would have been 50 years old when they stopped, so there wasn't any waiting time for that. The value of their account was $109,339. That's a difference of $1,107 worse. So even though this person saved for twice as long, they saved the same amount of money, but they saved twice as much, $20,000. At the time they turned 50, and at the time this person turns 50, the same year, let's say they're friends and they graduated from school together, this person actually has $1,100 more dollars than this person. So compound interest is no more complicated than that. And we can go through, we'll go through in another video some more detail about the actual calculations and how the compounding actually takes place. The point of this introductory video is really to show you the importance of it and how compound interest really can make a big difference in how much money you've got later on in life if you start earlier at these younger ages. Okay, now let's just do something a little bit fun if I have room here at the bottom, just to kind of drive the point home even one last time. So let's consider someone truly diligent who socks away $2,000 from 15 to 50. So we're talking about this person, but let's say that this person didn't stop here when they were 25 years old. Let's say that they kept investing at $166 a month from the time they were 15 until they're 50 years old. Let's see what happens. So by 50, her account value has grown to $189,673. So she has earned interest totaling $121,673. That's over and above what her investment was, right? So she invested for 35 years at $2,000 a month, but her account value is $189,000, which means that she earned interest of over $121,000 just for putting in $166 a month. So, okay, well, that's all about compound interest. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next video.